We learned that 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Why do we have to watch you suffer? Because there's a way that with technology, we can share this, we can record this, and it can be available to anybody and everybody.
You're listening to the Bold by Choice podcast with Vashaunta Harris and Jim Gunner. Real talk about charter schools, from the boardroom to the classroom, powered by the National Charter Schools Institute.
Welcome to the Bold by Choice podcast, where we help educators transform student outcomes by providing real-world strategies, inspiring stories, and insights that empower you to create high-quality learning environments. I'm Vashaunta Harris.
And I'm Jim Gunner. And I'm the youngest of 6 kids, the father of 7, the grandfather of 2, and I love charter schools. I got involved in this movement back in 1995 when Central Michigan University was chartering the first school in Michigan and was the first university to charter a school in the country. I have loved the ride. And in those early days, I couldn't make my mind up between business, education, and politics, and chartering had all 3. You see, I'm in part a CEO of the National Charter Schools Institute, but I'm also part philosopher. I love what we do. And some would even call me an OG. And at first that hurt my feelings because I thought that meant old guy. But it actually means original gangsta, as they tell me. And so we are excited to share and to grow and build this community together.
I love that. I had no idea the OG and the original gangster. I absolutely love that. And thank you for sharing it. That was hilarious for me. Well, friends, I'm a Southern girl at heart. I was raised on sweet tea, hard work, and a really deep belief that family and also community can change everything. And that belief has truly carried me through every step in my journey in education. I've had the privilege to serve in a number of different roles across the charter school ecosystem, literally from classrooms to boardrooms. And what I've learned is that systems truly don't change for the better until people connect. And that's what energizes me about the work that I get to lead now as Vice President of Professional Networks here at the National Charter Schools Institute. I get to bring professionals together, and not just to trade tools, but to also really share best practices and build relationships that push the work forward in what I believe are fresh, relevant, and incredibly joyful ways. See, I believe that professional development should never feel like punishment, which was what I felt when I was a teacher sitting in those summer PD classes. I'm gonna be honest about that. It should feel like possibility. And that's why I really enjoy creating spaces that feel dynamic, affirming, and a little bit of fun. And so we are really living in the space where breakthroughs get a chance to live. Now, outside of work, I am a very proud dog mom of a miniature golden doodle. His name is Chase. He is very spoiled. I am also an avid traveler. I really love getting a chance to experience new cultures and communities. And I am someone who finds joy in sharing adventures, not only for myself, but with my families. I have 2 little nephews and they have the travel bug as well now. And so I love getting a chance to take them along the journey. I'm really thrilled to be in this space because I truly believe that when passionate people connect, magic happens. Okay, so Jim, I got this question last week when we were at our big event in Atlanta. And the question was, well, what makes you all at the National Charter Schools Institute different? How would you respond to that?
Different from what and from who and all of those things, right? But fundamentally, what makes us different is we make it work. So we don't just come in and give you a textbook answer. We first want to learn who you are, what you're doing, what your vision is, what are the political and regulatory parameters you have to work with, and how do we find solutions? So as an example, the first thing we do coming into a state working with an authorizing agency would be to read the charter law, read their charter contract. Those things are very powerful when you start building performance frameworks and trying to help build a cohesive life cycle from an authorizing perspective. Different example would be from a board. What's your board composed of with members? What's their vision? What are their values? Have you created values? Right? We say to boards all the time, you're going to hit storms. And the thing that you need in a storm is a lighthouse. And in our world, your values, your organizational values are that lighthouse. It's your compass when the storm's raging. And so those are examples of how we just get real practical. We get to know you, we seek to understand, and then we help develop solutions that are going to be practical and usable for where you're at.
That's right. And it's interesting when you talk about boards, we do a really good job, I believe, at our board training and our board governance models. But how would you describe the rest of our work on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, Vashaunta, I got to go right at boards, right? Lots of people are doing board training. But the reality is, we're trying to shift the mindset of board members and people that work with them. We call it governing for greatness. Why? Because greatness is a mindset. So everybody knows I like Jim Collins, right? The journey from good to great. But greatness is actually a conscious choice. You have to decide to be great. And then there's things that come with that: disciplined people, disciplined thought, disciplined action. You can see why that makes so much sense for a board. But boards also need level 5 leaders, people that are dedicated to the cause, to the mission, to the organization. They have a paradox, and that is personal humility and professional will. It's not about them, it's about the mission. And they will do anything that's legal, ethically, matches the values to help make that happen, because it changes the trajectory of lives. The lives of students, the lives of families, the lives of teachers. Like, it is an amazing thing when you see that come to life.
So, Jim, a lot of folks say, like, who are you guys at the National Charter Schools Institute? How do you typically respond to that question?
Well, I say we're a team of passionate professionals that care about changing the trajectory of lives. We're people builders. We support and encourage people, their development. We help turn their visions into reality. And so we're fundamentally about making people better. But structurally, we're a nonprofit 501c3 organization. We work across the country. Our teammate Sylvia lives in Hawaii. You're in South Carolina. I'm in Michigan. So we're spread out. And that allows us to work in different time zones with different contexts. But at the end of the day, what are we? We're a group that goes the extra mile to help people take their dreams, put them into action.
That's absolutely true. And now, if I can, one of the things that I found so powerful in my onboarding was I learned that this organization is incredibly dynamic. We actually do a lot of different things. So how would you describe our day-to-day work?
Oh, we've got multiple things going on for sure, right? But let me hit on a few of the high points. So, as the National Charter School Institute, we're calling people to greatness. We want an ecosystem that is dynamic, that's diverse, that is making a difference for kids, and is continuously, I call it the relentless pursuit of excellence. We want everybody to hear that call to greatness and give them the power and the energy to happen. So, from a mission standpoint, we call that inspire, equip, and support. We want to inspire people to greatness. We want to equip them with the tools and resources they need. We want to be there to give them that support and that encouragement along the way. 2, we work with schools, boards, and authorizers. And the reason we work with all 3 of those is because we believe that them working together is going to provide the focus, the energy, the success that lifts students and families. And that rather than spending our energy fighting with each other, not being on the same page, we're a whole lot better when we're aligned and working together. We also have Epicenter. And part of the reason we built Epicenter is we get people fired up about processes and systems and strategies. But without something to go to work every day and make it happen, it just doesn't get done. And schools, boards, and authorizers are often very busy. They may not have the resources to build systems and processes. And so Epicenter is kind of our collective gift. It's processes and systems that they can turn on, put to use, make recurring events routine so that you can spend more time focused on the kids and what you're called to do. We're also home to the National Charter School Founders Library. And that is a mission of love for us because we want the charter history recorded, preserved, and we also want it shared. We don't want somebody else defining our history. And it came into play with the National Supreme Court case. We saw that having lawmakers that had this history that charter schools are public schools, they're free and open to all, being able to share that history was such a powerful component and resulted in an amicus brief by fellow lawmakers, former lawmakers, as part of this. So the history is important, but also honoring our founders, the people that gave the blood, sweat, and tears to help build this movement, to open organizations, to pass laws, to launch schools. They deserve to be honored, but we also can share the lessons, what worked, what didn't, with the next generation of leaders. And so that's part of our gift. We also do a tremendous amount of work with authorizing. We just had the A game you talked about in Atlanta, right? But what is that fundamentally about? It's about advancing great authorizing and modeling excellence. Well, why? Authorizers have a disproportionate impact on chartering. Just think about it this way. There's no charter school in America that doesn't get chartered. Authorizers play an important role in this. And that's why we want authorizers to see themselves as guardians of opportunity, stewards of possibility, because that's such a big vision, and it's a promise, it's a covenant. And that's what brings charters to life, not just fulfilling terms, conditions of contracts, but keeping the promise. And we're all better when we keep that promise together.
And people are like, so why are you guys creating a podcast? Like, what is this really about? And I love that question because we're creating this buzz. And when I first joined the team, my charge was pretty clear. We have this idea about the charter network, and it was about bringing that idea and that concept to life. And at first, it felt really more like a spark. And I love that connection that you just made, Jim, about who we are. We're lighting fires, right? And it was a spark about if we connect the right people, we get the right stories, and we bring in some of the right tools, we could build something that truly serves that entire charter school ecosystem. And so I really got to work in terms of conversations with people, focus groups, surveys, real conversations. And I just asked folks, what do you need to thrive in this work? Not just survive, but truly to thrive. And what came up again and again was people didn't want more theory. They didn't want more resources necessarily. They wanted real, true human help. And see, what I realize is charter leaders, and I don't mean just in the school building, I mean across the ecosystem, they're doing really big and really important work and often doing it alone. This community, authorizers, board members, school leaders, parents, families, students, the kids, right? Exclamation point. They are asking for things that sometimes we take for granted. Micro learning moments, case studies, access to mentors, tools they can use literally tomorrow. They aren't looking for just another report that they download on their computer and file away. They're saying, give me the real solutions, the real stories, and let me learn from people who have already been where it is that I'm trying to go. And this podcast is about offering a space to share those ideas and truly be a large part of that community. We are literally humanizing this side of the work. And that means the joy, the hard stuff, and everything in between. This podcast really brings in that innovation and spotlights the fresh and practical ideas.
Vashaunta, I like to call that the blood, sweat, and tears. If you're going to start and launch and operate a successful charter school, you are going to give blood, sweat, and tears. It ain't for the faint of heart. But that's what makes it so fun. See, fundamentally, I believe chartering is a promise. It's a promise to kids. It's a promise to communities. It's a promise to teachers. It's a promise that we're going to be better, that we're going to passionately pursue excellence, that we're going to make a difference. And we don't want just charters to be successful. We want everybody to be successful. That's our North Star. That's our calling. So chartering is a promise that we prove together. And that's why this Bold by Choice podcast is so important. We hear all the time people are isolated, alone. They wish they had access to ideas, people that have been there, done that, have been successful. That's what we want to bring to them. But I also see so many times where people are recreating the wheel. And it's like, we learned that 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Why do we have to watch you suffer? Because there's a way that with technology, we can share this, we can record this, and it can be available to anybody and everybody. You see, we don't want this to just be for a few. As you and I were talking, we don't want this to be a narrow path. We want to blow it wide open so that it's free and accessible to everybody. That way we can all work to win for kids, right? Let's call it proving the promise together.
That's right. I love that. And I love that conversation we had in Atlanta. That's exactly what we were talking about. Those closed door conversations that were really specific to the who's who, we're bringing those directly to the mic so that we can all learn, grow, and share together. I'm really excited for this. So let's talk about what you all can expect. We are super pumped that season 1 is upon us. And during season 1, we are pulling back the curtain on the full life of a charter school cycle. That means from bold ideas and hopeful beginnings to tough decisions and transformative support. Along the way, you're going to meet some of my friends and colleagues who, again, are the passionate, experienced leaders behind the National Charter Schools Institute, and you'll be able to hear what fuels our work. So whether you're new to the charter world or you are deep in the trenches, this season is about helping us all to see the bigger picture, feel part of a greater movement, and walk away with fresh ideas and renewed energy. So each episode is going to unpack a very key phase in the charter school's journey, the application process, where vision meets opportunity, the authorizing and startup phase, building strong foundations, oversight that's thoughtful, supportive, and student-centered, renewal as a milestone but not a rubber stamp, closure as a courageous and humane act, and of course, that innovation and support that goes well beyond compliance. You'll also get a chance to learn more about who it is that we serve, the authorizers, the school boards, and the school leaders, and why we believe the right people aligned to the right values can change lives.
Vashaunta, leaders need perseverance and fortitude. It's tough to lead, and we're all leaders. In whatever role, whatever capacity we have influence. And leadership fundamentally is influence. And we want to encourage the heart as well as the head. That's part of what they're going to get with this Bold by Choice. And so it isn't just talk, it's people that have walked the talk, put it into action, made it happen, got bloodied, failed, got up, kept trying. Because that's really our mission: build capacity, build excellence, create momentum, stretch, grow. That's what leaders do, and that's what it means to be bold by choice. You see, fundamentally, we see chartering as being guardians of opportunity and stewards of possibility. That's what our audience represents, and we want them to have the confidence, the energy to do that. And sometimes we're just going to say to them through this platform, you can do it. We believe in you. Keep going.
Yeah, and we want to partner with you. Listen, we're here to truly make this work more human, more hopeful, and more honest. You'll hear some tough truths, but you'll hear more about a lot of the wins that are worth celebrating. You'll hear from people who love this movement enough to keep making it better. This podcast truly is not just about content, it's connection, it's community, it's care.
And we're going to go the extra mile to demonstrate the care and to show why we care about you, we care about your work, we care about your success. So I've got a challenge for our listeners, and here it is. Think about the schools and communities you serve. What's one bold step you can take to ensure long-term sustainability and success? Not just for today, but for the future. 2, who in your network needs to hear this conversation? Share this episode with them. Whether they're an educator, a school leader, decision maker, a board member, but anybody that's interested in navigating growth, facilities, finances, instruction, or just figuring out how to put it all together so that it actually works. That's what we want. 3, join the movement. If you're not already part of our charter network, we invite you. We want everybody to participate because we will be stronger together. So we want you to hit the subscribe button, leave us a review, and we'll see you next time on the Bold by Choice podcast, where leadership, innovation, and impact come to life.